Well, the Warriors rolled up their Hampton 5 in the starting lineup for the first time, and it led to a great start. Game 4 win over the Pelicans. Steve Kerr says they'll go back to it in Game 5. Let's hand it over to David Aldridge and Steph Curry to get us ready for that game.
Steph, the Hampton's lineup has been the lineup to go to for so long. Why and what makes it such a potent lineup at both ends of the floor?
I think we all bring the best out of each other. We can increase the pace of the game, but versatility on the defensive end. And I think the biggest thing offensively is that we're all playmakers in that sense, and we just try to look for the best shot, stay within ourselves, and just make the right play. Until it doesn't work, until we hit a speed bump in that aspect, we're gonna stick with it.
After 3 games back, where would you say you are right now?
I'm feeling good. I mean, the body's holding up. It's just a matter of continue to build momentum. From where I'm at right now, not dealing with any pain, so that's a win.
What are the keys to closing this series out and getting some time off before the conference final?
We've been through this before, where we know how hard it is to close the team out. They're going to give us everything they got, and I probably expect their starters to play 40+ minutes and whatnot. So you got to be ready for it.
The Warriors' death lineup of Curry, Thompson, Iguodala, Draymond Green, and KD, well, that led to Golden State starting out Game 4 on a 17-4 run/lead. Smitty, why did it take Steve Kerr so long to go to this particular lineup that he knows that's his best 5 players?
Well, I think the first game, obviously, you were trying to figure out the Steph's health, how much you can play him. But Steve Kerr's understand he's always can go to that. And to me, what makes them special, Isaiah, they all have a high basketball IQ.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times as coaches, Zeke, you've been there, you throw out a play. If it doesn't work, they still know how to play basketball because a defensive team maybe stop the entry pass. They know how to backdoor. They know how to play each other. And Steph said it best. It's almost like when the kick, punt, and pass, they all can run, dribble, and shoot. You know what I mean? So when you have guys that can dribble, can also pass, and also shoot, 3 or 4 guys at the same time, then you got a guy in Kevin Durant. I love LeBron, but that would be a nightmare. I couldn't stop either one of them, Zeke, but that would be a nightmare trying to defend Kevin Durant at sometimes when he's not the first option.
Yeah.
When you just got to just stay with him and let the offense flow, then all of a sudden you take a little quick peek and he catches it. What can you do at a guy 7 feet shooting?
Smitty, that's scary. You said he's not the first option sometimes?
No.
But, when you talk about Durant, I don't think our league, well, I know our league has never seen a player at this size, with this skill, with this kind of shooting ability. And, we love George Gervin, we love Iceman, but Kevin Durant is 3 inches taller than George Gervin. 4 inches? Yeah, he a real 7-footer and listing himself at 6'9", right? But he's got just as good a handle as any point guard. He shoots it just as good as any point guard. Then he can play in the mid post. Then he can play in the low post. And then you can put him out at the point guard position and he can pass the basketball. And as you said earlier, he's unselfish. I mean, he is a nightmare to try to game plan against, defend against, and guard.
At this point, Anthony Davis is top 3 in almost every statistical category in these playoffs, in points, in rebounds, in block shots, and in steals. But the Pelicans are still struggling in this series. What can they do going forward to try to build this, to make this a championship caliber team? I mean, Anthony Davis has clearly proven in this series that he's a championship caliber player.
Well, when you're playing against the Warriors and you're the Pelicans, you can't have any defensive lapses because they're that good. And Rondo said it best after the game in his interview. He said, that first quarter, you start off in a playoff game, they had some defensive missed assignments. And there's no excuse for that. You can't have defensive missed assignments in the first quarter. There's no fatigue, right? There's no lack of concentration. When you come out of the locker room, take off the warm-up, you should be ready to go. You got the game plan in your head. You can't be making a mistake. Now, if it's the third quarter, fourth quarter, late in the fourth quarter, and you miss an assignment, but to miss it early, and you give Golden State that type of, confidence, motivation, momentum going, you ain't got a chance. So what can they do? They got to concentrate better and don't miss defensive assignments.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the adjustment that Steve Kerr made in the last game, but going forward, when you're in New Orleans, how do you adjust to that death lineup?
Well, it's hard. I think you'll find a way, and obviously you don't want Anthony Davis to get beat up so much. I think you got to have him on the move. I love to see them setting some screens and keeping him on the move because you don't want him to go against a Draymond Green, Kevin Looney set defense where they're just banging him and banging him. And to me, the key is playoff Rondo. Playoff Rondo has to have one of those games where he has his imprint all over the game, tripping people, touching people. He's got to ugly up the game because he's that one guy I think they'll feed off of. Stay connected where he doesn't get thrown out the game, but I think he's got to be a little bit more edgy and also be a little bit more scoring Rondo, getting to the bucket and taking it to where he can get to that free throw line.
You know, speaking of edgy, you know, now I've seen Draymond get in a lot of guys' faces, right? And it just seemed like when he got in Rondo's face, it was like, all right, I'm in your face, but don't hit me.
I think,
it wasn't, Smitty, it wasn't the same kind of like, you know, I'm going to beat you. You know, it was like, you know.
I think it was two things. You respect Rondo.
Yeah.
Just because what he's done is not basketball. Everybody respects everybody's basketball player, but Rondo, the person, I think also he kind of understood. He's trying to get me kicked out. He's trying to get me kicked out. So I think Draymond has shown some maturity to try to hold up. But Rondo, I think he has to keep playing that type of way.
You know, another thing about Draymond that I think we should address here, you know, on Twitter, somebody talked about, you know, really physically hurting him with a weapon, right? And, no person that's playing basketball
So you have to go through that.
should ever be threatened with a weapon, you know, about being, you know, shot in the face and stuff like that. I mean, come on, man, that's crazy. So
Totally wrong.
I mean, that's wrong on every system. And the way Draymond has handled it, you know, and the way he and his mom has handled it has been great. So, you know, kudos to Draymond for, you know, handling it that way.
Yeah, people first, players second. I mean, that's what it is because they have to live their lives. They're not meant to be threatened.